So who exactly is Marvel Studios looking at for the upcoming X-Men reboot? Well, if you've heard any of the big names that are tossed out there, you can pretty much assume that those are all false reports. As a brand new report is coming at us from more reliable sources, the Marvel is not going for any big names because they need to cost reduce. Big budgets are not the way forward as films are making less due to various circumstances. So what do? Well, we've heard previously that Marvel wants to do one specific thing. Cast very young X-Men, so all the X-Men are going to be largely unknown or rather cheap actors, much like most of Phase 1, and I would honestly argue even many in Phase 2, but then they were going to apparently cast bigwigs, big names for Professor X, for Magneto, and the key players. Apparently, that's not the case anymore. Per a brand new report that came at us from Variety, it debunks all the scooper claims, and they just say, no, they're actually going to cost reduce everywhere, so don't expect any big names. If anybody's a big name, it's going to be the villain, which again would make sense. I think that kind of makes sense. You draw attention to it with a big name that's a villain, that's a one-time appearance, and then he's off, disposed, and they move on to the next one. This, to me, sounds like the exact direction that you would need to go in. Like, for example, if the next X-Men film is $180 million to produce with an unknown cast, great. That's awesome. That means break even, 450 tops? Awesome. The moment you start tossing A-lister actors in there, which many have fan cast, that 180 is ballooning to 250 to 300 easily. Then the marketing's got to balloon because you got to make sure their face is everywhere. And then you're in 700 million break even. That's no longer the goal. That's no longer a plan that's viable unless you're doing a Avengers-style film that is an event film. So I trust what Variety's reporting because I will trust Variety over Scoopy McDoopy, who's pivoting his scoop and shifting their statements every day. So, when the initial report happens, they've covered their bases and they've tweeted that one, delete the rest of them and go, well, look, I was right. Yeah, but you were wrong the other 20 claims. Don't worry, I was right on this one. Toss everything out there and see what sticks. And per X-Men, why would you need big names? Did the original X-Men cast have big names attached to it? I know people are now going to be in the comments, listen here, Hugh Jackman, he ain't the... How dare you, Famke Janssen? That always happens when I mention that these actors were largely nobodies, and people forget that they were nobodies. The characters made them, and the films and franchises they were in. Thor, Chris Hemsworth, was made by Thor. You didn't know who Chris Hemsworth was, or barely knew, maybe only because you watched Star Trek. Again, you guys see what I'm saying? They can cast younger actors, unknown actors, and make them names. That's the plan. Thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will, and if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching and have a good one.